AskRe did by Kantar 1. What is it that you invested thousands of hours and now is pointless? Moderated a subreddit. At the end of the 90s, I decided to digitize my entire DVD collection into MP4s. I had more than 1,000 titles. I had a computer specially dedicated to this task. At the rate of 1 DVD every night I remembered to do it. I burned through 3 different disk drives. It took me 4 years to finish. Now, everything is streaming in HD or 4K on your phone. Anybody interested in a 720p interlaced copy of Octopussy? Didn't think so. Put that shit on a Plex server and stream all your shit for free. 720 ain't bad, especially on mobile devices. I got a BS in biochemistry, then drove a forklift for 14 years. Now I'm an electrician. Whoop whoop. Fellow biochem graduate. I earned $12 an hour in a lab after working in wastewater. I do budgets now. I should have never done that. There were other ways to get to medical school that I clearly couldn't pursue because I did so poorly in the undergraduate degree. Pouring one out for your pain. Eater, wow. I don't know whether I'm happy not to be alone or incredibly sad knowing that there are so many of us. My best advice for anyone seeking an undergraduate degree in biology, chemistry, biochemistry, etc. is to know you will have to get an advanced degree to make anything in your field. If you love it and are passionate about the subjects, keep on keeping on because they really are fascinating. Cheers to all my fellow scientific dropouts. I know all the tricks to make a website look as good in Internet Explorer 6 as in Chrome, Safari or Opera. I feel your pain. I also know how to make emails look identical across a huge number of clients, which is actually more difficult, yet feels equally pointless. It took me 8 years to get my chemical engineering degree. I never worked a single day as a chemical engineer. I'm a data analyst now. Reminds me of the guy that told me he had paid over $100K for an undergrad chemistry degree, and that the only thing he used it for was his pool. I built a customer service team from the ground up to support a client's new product. Became the highest rated customer service group in the entire business. One day our phones went dead, called to test the line, was routed to a different customer service team. We'd been outsourced and they didn't have the heart to tell us in advance. Wow. I studied graphic design at a time when the industry was just adopting Illustrator and Photoshop. The schools, however, weren't. I learned so much about paste up and how to use a copy machine to get the very most out of it, and calculating percentages for enlarging, reducing and inking with French curves and waxing a block of text to lead it by hand and, oh god, so much pain in the ass, hand-drawn, hand-cut elements that were immediately rendered useless as soon as I got my first job. Sometimes I miss it. Then I remember pasting up whole paragraphs of text and remember that I don't, actually. I have really good crafting skills though. Minecraft. From 2011 to probably 2018 to 2019 it was like my go-to depression game. When my depression got bad, some days I'd play for 12 hours. Built a whole huge city with districts, multiple tall buildings, rail system, a mob zoo, etc. I kinda miss it sometimes. It may be pointless, but if it got you through the day then I consider it useful. This is the life of a geneticist. The field moves quickly with the technology and techniques, but they are all very complex and difficult to learn. More than once in my life, I have poured myself into a specialized skill to be the best in the building, only to have that skill be obsolete the next year. It never feels that bad, though, because the replacements are almost always faster, easier, and get you better results, or else they don't really take off. It's the bittersweet nature of being in a field that's constantly innovating and improving. I spent half my army career in various schools learning to repair nuclear missiles. Now I'm doing desktop support and teaching the new guys how to install printers remotely. If one of the new guys gets pissed off at a printer and launches it across the room, you can teach them how to fix it. Sorting and organizing my MP3 collection. Fuck. The pain is real. Had to make it easy to find in Winamp. Wow. I haven't talked to any of my old guildmates in years. I got server first kills and worked my ass off to be the top of my game, and it means next to nothing. I look back on the time I spent fondly and wouldn't trade the experience for anything. But it really does nothing for me. Glad to see this. I was coming out to say it. Although, I quit smoking cigarettes the day I started WoW and I'm currently sitting on 15 years sober as of 8/8, so it wasn't a waste for me, really. And lots of my guildmates are on my FB. And I do have some great memories. Edit. Quit date and day I started WoW. The 8th of August 2008. Asian parent piano lessons. Didn't make them happy. Didn't make myself happy. Never got any good at it. Gained no useful skills whatsoever for the several hundred hours per year for multiple years spent practicing. Asian orchestra kids rise up. I fake my way through every concert. Reddit. My primary source of entertainment. I took 2 years of French instead of Spanish in high school. I live in Texas. I live in Massachusetts, and I still should have taken Spanish instead of French. But at least whenever I go up to Montreal I can order my food in my terrible French and show everyone I'm an American immediately. RuneScape, but it's been pointless since day one. My friend just 99'd every skill on Iron Man. Unbelievable waste of time. When I was 20 I got a job at an up and coming tech company. 6 months later they went IPO in a big way, and I was worth $2 million on paper. 6 months later the market crashed and the stock tanked. Before I was legally allowed to touch the shares. I read a profile in Wired years ago about some 20-something kid who was a zillionaire on paper. He personally owned the URL business.com back when URLs were the hotness. He was offered $400 million for the URL and turned it down. Then tech crashed, his company burned and he was literally flipping burgers riding out the shareholder suits. I studied and trained to be a professional opera singer for 12 years. Ended up not being the right path for me after a diagnosis of bipolar disorder this year. In my early 30s and never imagined I'd be in this position. I managed to accidentally wipe the drive that held all my work. I'm a semi-professional game dev. There was 10 years worth of meshes, materials and code. It's been 10 days. I've just been in a sort of state of shock, having tried and failed to recover the lost files. Everyone who reads this, go back up your data right now. https://www.seagate.com/blog/what-is-2-1-backup-strategy/close bracket. UMR Spindles, I'm so sorry to hear this. Edit, thank you for the gold. Being a decent, hard-working employee for a large multinational corporation. Everyone is replaceable, even me. My boss, co-founder. I have a bachelor's degree in astronomy from one of the world's best universities. I now work as a software engineer. Deleted. I spent over a decade learning how to draw, studying design techniques, etc. Tried to work as a professional designer and illustrator and it was terrible and made no money. Now I'm a software developer. Every once in a blue moon it's useful for making graphics, but really just pointless. I'm an engineer. We're not exactly known for our artistic inclinations lol. But we do use figures and sketches a lot to convey ideas. Most of us do fine with our chicken scratch diagrams during meetings, but I had one boss who was at a whole other level. He could draw clear, neat isometric views of things, upside down so that the person sitting across the table from him could see it. It didn't exactly make him elite, but it sure did help with communications his ideas. I am a professional fingerboarder. Some footage. https://www.youtube.com/watch?vokzpk8iswsm close bracket lol. Damn, that's some mad skills. Every NBA 2K since 2K13. They got greedy. The extreme monetization and the my player aspect of the game is nuts. Sanskrit lessons in school. Not once have I used that language since I gave my 10th exam. Do hip hop music, but in Sanskrit. Make it a thing, bringing back Sanskrit. A bachelor's degree in interior design. But I graduated in 2008 and there weren't any jobs in my field because the recession had wiped them out. The industry has recovered, but by the time it had, I'd gone back to school for massage therapy, and the thought of leaving a low-stress career for a high-stress career just didn't seem like a great plan. I've now owned my massage business for 13 years and I have a great work-life balance, but paying student loans on something you'll never really use is rough. I worked in high-tech for 40-ish years. Almost everything I learned became obsolete. It's a treadmill. At least you got a 40-year-long career out of it. The rest of us are like 5-10 with over $100k in student loans. In the 90s, my brother worked as fire watcher in Minnesota near the border. He lived in some remote location. Power but no phone. They cached his supplies for several months. Then nothing. Half starved, he finally came out of the woods to see what was what. He'd been laid off. No one told him. No money in his account. Everybody was laid off and gone. Office dark. That ought to be the kind of job where checking in fairly frequently should be expected. No phone, but surely equipped with a radio? Forest fires and fought alone. My PhD. It's fucking worthless and I'm done with academia. Now I work in a corp mindlessly filling Excel spreadsheets for twice the money I was paid and I've never been happier in my entire life. Edit. I've got PhD in STEM. Still it's fucking worthless cause nobody is hiring out here and I don't have some crucial skills to move abroad and get a decent job. I'm sick of working overtime for free, Dean's stupid policies, falsifying results. I got a notification on LinkedIn that a financial corp is opening new branch in my city. I applied for junior data analyst, but honestly all I do is filling Excel spreadsheets, making bar charts and reporting anything unusual. This is my dream. I am hopelessly burned out on the master's degree that will not end and I have zero interest in pursuing the traditional academia path any farther. But I fucking love filling out spreadsheets. My marriage. The leading cause of divorce is marriage. Marriage 32 years together. Knife in the back. God damn. I hope you get your groove back and live more happily than you ever thought possible. I was a Jehovah's Witness for 30 years, average of 15 hours a month knocking on doors, preaching Armageddon that never will come. Free for 23 years now. Good for you. My mom left that church at 18 and never looked back. Religious trauma is no fucking joke. I can't believe I've scrolled this far and not seen Facebook yet. People live their lives on there until suddenly nobody did. My friends still half use it. Not like 2010 when everything went on there and everything was tagged and you'd freak out if an unflattering picture of you was tagged because everyone would see. Now it's just used for groups and a very occasional post. Prepping. If nothing apocalyptic ever happens. All my prepper friends can't cook. Invest time in cooking, preparing food, smoking, and grilling. It will not be wasted time. And, if you ever need to cook without electricity, you'll be the king. I've played over 4,000 hours of The Sims 4. Animal Crossing New Horizons. Pointless? Technically. A pastime that brings me impeccable joy? Yes. I started playing in the throes of COVID quarantine and never put it down. I have like 2,400 hours invested in the game. Art. I used to draw multiple hours almost every day. It didn't go anywhere unfortunately. And my skill level was not that high, to put it mildly. Did you enjoy it? Because, in the end, that's what matters. I'm an artist, pretty good. I've made a living doing illustration and design work. But, I'm not a top tier talent by any means. But I still enjoy what I do for myself, even if I no longer try to make a living from it. Currently having fun doing painting of Lovecraftian abominations. I worked for my dad for years for basically minimum wage. I was entitled to the profits of one of our stores. I worked my ass off to get expenses down and revenues up, and increase my involvement with the management of the other stores, and finally I was in good shape to earn. And then after all that, he unilaterally renegotiated the deal, so I'm still basically making minimum wage. Being a musician. No regrets really, but I definitely did not have the hustle or look to make any money at it. Also, really did hate the nasty folks that would just hate you for being good. It's lonely at the top. Then someone who is a prodigy brings home the reality that if you don't have the resources or luck to really make it, it's just not worth the 50.00 a gig. I also was just depressed getting into being pro and realizing just how much talent is actually out there. Watched a girl who could sing better than anyone I've ever heard lose out on life-changing gig because she was not the right look. The cards have to be right. Talent is not wasted, but it's really hard to make a living at it. Gotta be a gambler. Now I haven't played in years. Miss it. Flint knapping. It always was pointless, but not a. Get it, but so much fun. Drafting. 3 years in high school plus summers in preparation for architecture school. That lasted one 10-week term before switching to history. It turns out I enjoyed the software side of CAD because I now work with digital humanities and online collections of materials. Aikido. Got the second dan and then realized it wouldn't help me achieve what was initial goal, that is be able to defend myself. I played around 12k hours of soccer, got pretty good at it but it didn't work out, so now I'm an engineer that secretly can play soccer at professional level. I was an extremely competitive, national level swimmer who ended up retiring freshman year of college due to injuries and chronic fatigue. I do not consider that time wasted in the slightest. Life is about collecting experiences and there are still many skills from that time that help me today. I am still athletic and swim laps for fitness and I've been getting more into weights. I can free dive once or twice a year and have a great time with my BF who does scuba. I have a mermaid tail and want to get into more mermaid swimming lol. Being a strong swimmer is never a wasted skill, and achieving a high level in any sport will translate into success in other areas of your life. Drinking alcohol. They said hours wasted, not hours spent wasted. Trying to maintain a relationship with a narcissist parent. 2 years contact free. Working out without dieting properly. Not a waste of time at all. Not maximizing results for sure, but working out absolutely makes you healthier regardless of what you are training. Overwatch. I stuck with it for a long time with hopes of OW2 pure PvE gaming fueling me. Then OW2 dropped. Without its PvE. And now they cancelled PvE altogether. And the battle pass sucks butt, so the PvP doesn't even have anything left either. Every day, I miss tank duoing. You don't realize how hard it was to invest 1k in Bitcoin in 2010. You had to do a shady wire transfer to an exchange that went bankrupt. Then you would have had to not left it on said exchange, put it in an offline wallet, then not have the hard drive blow out, Then not let the hard drive go to landfill erroneously. Life is made up of these seemingly random but interconnected steps. If you manage to flip the coin correctly a dozen times, now you're retired. Pirating, ripping, organizing and updating my 198GB MP3 collection. 7 years in a relationship with a man who promised he wanted to build a life together but never actually followed through. I finally got the message.